Yo, what's up guys, and welcome to a brand new video on my channel. So in today's video we're going to go over all of the PlayStation settings, including your network settings and all of the performance boosting settings, so your Apex runs as smoothly as possible. So let's get right into it. So first thing you want to do is close any game that is running right now, and then you want to head over to your settings right here, and then we're gonna go from the top to the bottom and adjust every setting for the best performance and lowest ping. Alright, so the first setting here you can skip. This is not important at all, but we're gonna head into accessibility, and you just want to make sure that all of these settings are disabled. So all of these settings should be disabled. The screen reader should be disabled, and then here on controllers, disable this if it's enabled, and then the closed captions, disable this as well, and the chat transcription, make sure this is disabled as well. You do not need any of this. You only need this if you have some kind of condition and you actually rely on these settings. Alright, so let's head right into the network settings, which are actually really important. So as you can see, this is my current internet connection. I called it tweaked LAN or tweak LAN. I always recommend using a LAN cable as it gives you more stable and faster connection to your router or modem. But if you use Wi-Fi, you can enable the same settings. It doesn't really matter. I'm just saying a LAN cable is always better. So you want to click on setup internet connection right here, and then you want to press options on the first one. It says registered networks on the top. So this is the one that you are connected with. As you can see, it says connected on the right. You want to press options on this and then go on advanced settings. So in here, what you want to do is you want to set the IP address settings to automatic. The DHCP host, you want to set this to don't specify. And then the DNS settings, make sure you put this from automatic to manual. And then the recommended DNS for most areas in the world is Cloudflare. This is the fastest DNS for my region. And as you can see, it is 1.1.1.1, and the second one is the same with zeros in the middle. This is the fastest DNS server for my location. If you're not sure what the fastest DNS is in your location, just search up on Google fastest DNS and then your location. Usually it is Cloudflare. They have servers all over the world, so I really recommend Cloudflare, and it's definitely better than setting it to automatic. So this is the one that I use, and it's the fastest for me, and it's been working really well. And then the proxy server, make sure that this is set to don't use. And then the MTU settings, make sure you set this from automatic to manual. And what you want to do is you want to try 1500 first, which is the max. And then you want to hit on OK. And then what you can do is you can just run an internet test real quick. And then after you did this, you can also try going into the game and checking your ping and your latency. And if it's not good, you might want to try a different DNS or also a different MTU. And I'm gonna give you the other MTU you can try. So if your internet cannot handle 1500 MTU, try 1492. Alright, so you can try this 1492, and also if the DNS is not working out well for you, you can try the Google DNS, which is 8.8.8.8 and then 8.4.4.8. This is also a really good DNS server, and you just want to try and see what's best for your connection. But most of the times, the ones that I'm on, which is the Cloudflare and 1500 MTU, is usually the best connection that you can have. So yeah, you're probably good off just copying this, but you can try different things for your connection, because every internet connection has different limits, and also it depends on your location. And yeah. Alright, so after network, you want to head over to users and accounts, and in here there's only one setting that you should really change, and it's also privacy focused, but it also can improve your performance by probably the slightest bit. But you want to head over to data you provide inside of privacy, and you want to make sure this is unlimited instead of full. So yeah, that's the only thing you should change in here. Alright, so after users and accounts, you can skip family and parental controls. There's nothing you should really change in there. But then we want to head over to system settings. And then in here, you want to make sure that a few things are disabled and enabled. So you want to head over to HDMI, and you want to enable the HDMI device link. But inside of here, make sure that these right here are disabled, and then also disable HDCP. This can give you a slight decrease in latency, so it can give you slightly better latency. But if you listen to Spotify while playing, or if you watch Netflix or whatever, then make sure you turn this setting back off, as Spotify and Netflix and other multimedia apps, they use this setting. So if you want to use them, make sure that it is enabled. But if you do not use any of them like me, you can disable this, and it will give you slightly better delay. I need to have it disabled anyways, because you need to disable the setting to use a capture card. But yeah, this is like a pretty good setting to disable. And then you can skip language and date and time, and you want to head over to remote play. And you just want to make sure that if you do not use remote play, you can disable it for all of the users on your PlayStation. And then on power saving, you can pretty much just disable all of these settings, so don't put in rest mode. Features available in rest mode, I actually suggest you that you put stay connected to the internet on, and enable turning on PS5 from network, as this will allow you to do game downloads and updates while your PlayStation is in rest mode. And then also the supply power to USB ports setting is not that important. You can put it to always if you want to. I just put it to 3 hours, because usually your controllers are charged after 3 hours anyways. This just allows you to charge controllers or any other accessories while your PlayStation is in rest mode. So yeah, you can choose this yourself. But then you want to head over to web browser, and inside of here you want to disable allow cookies, as cookies take up a little bit of storage, and it can make your PlayStation's browser a little bit more bloated. In the PlayStation 5, there's rarely any time where you actually get redirected to a browser. It's only if you click any link inside of games. So you really don't need cookies for your PlayStation 5. And then you can skip this setting right here, and what you want to do is you should just once delete the cookies and clear the browser, the website data, as this is just stuff that is stored in your console from all the past browsers that you have opened inside of games, and you don't need this stuff really. And then this setting right here is also not important, but I would enable it, as it prevents cross-site tracking, which is, I'm pretty sure this is a privacy feature, so you can enable this setting if you want to. Alright, so the next setting is your storage, and inside of here there's a few important things. So if you have a USB extended storage, so if you have any drive that is connected to your PlayStation where you store games or anything, what you want to do is you want to go into your games and apps, and you want to make sure that you convert them over to the USB extended storage. I'm pretty sure you can do that by if you have one connected, it's going to show right here. and then you can move games from your console storage to your extended storage. And I really recommend you doing this, because freeing up space on your console can increase your PlayStation's performance. I personally don't have one connected right now, as I'm using my extended drive for my PC to store clips and stuff like that. But one important thing is, you want to make sure that you put any casual games, any story games, or anything that you play casually, you want to put that on your extended storage. But any competitive FPS games that you play, for example Apex, Fortnite, Rainbow, COD, anything, you want to make sure that that stays on your console storage, since your console storage is the fastest storage unit, because it's internal in your PlayStation, and it's gonna make your games load up faster, and it's gonna make your games run better, in comparison to using them from an extended storage, because then the drive sends the data to the PlayStation, and all of that costs time. So I suggest you putting all of your competitive games on your console storage, and any casual story mode games or anything, put that on your extended storage. And then also you can change the installation location for, like, for example, if you play PS4 games that are usually like casual games, because all the new games, they have PS5 versions by now, you can change the PS5 game storage location to your extended storage or your drive, so it just always automatically downloads them to your extended storage. Alright, then you want to head over to your sound settings, and inside of microphone you can't really change anything, just make sure that it is set to the microphone that you're using. And then in the audio output settings, you can enable this setting, as this allows you to change your controllers or your headset, and it will automatically switch the output to those devices. And then go down to headphones and make sure that mono audio for headphones is disabled, as this setting, if this is enabled, you can't tell if an enemy is to your left or to your right or in front of you or whatever, because it plays the same sound on both sides of your headphones, so you pretty much lose all the surround sound and your awareness. And then I disabled home screen music. You can disable this as well if you want to, don't really have to though. I still have sound effects enabled just because I like it when I just go around in my menu. And then make sure that the audio format is set to linear PCM. This is the best setting for me personally. It's not like a cinematic experience or whatever like the Dolby settings right here, but this is just the best for competitive gaming, as it allows you to hear clearly and you can tell where people are. You don't hear too much stuff, it's just the important stuff, and it's not like this stuff right here is mostly good for like TVs or surround sound systems. If you have like sound setups all around your setup. So yeah, I just use linear PCM as I use normal headphones. And then these next two settings right here, the TV speaker settings, I personally do not use a TV for my sound, but if you do, you can set up the 3D audio. I don't really know if this helps you, but I suggest you playing with headphones anyways. Playing on TV sound will really nerf you. It will definitely give you problems in Apex, as Apex doesn't really have good audio. So definitely buy some headphones if you use this. And then inside of here, this is kind of a debatable setting. Me personally, I do not like the 3D audio for headphones. It probably depends on your headphones, but for me personally, this distracts me and really confuses me sometimes. And it makes like some steps and some distant audio sound really weird and loud, and this just confuses me. Me personally, I think for Apex it's the best to just use linear PCM, disable mono, and then just leave it like that. but you can try playing around with this setting if you want to. Me personally, I don't really like it. And then the headphone volume, you can set this to the max and then change the volume inside of your game if it's too loud. Alright, and then the next setting, which is also a pretty important one, you want to click on screen and video. As you can see, this right here is my current output signal, and I'm gonna go over all of my video settings. So this is a really important one. If you prefer performance over resolution, I would suggest you putting this from automatic to 1080p, as Apex and other PS5 games sometimes randomly switch your resolution to 1440p, and my monitor is only full HD anyways, so it can only handle 1080p anyways, and this is all I need personally. And for performance purposes, I suggest you putting it to 1080p, as if you prefer performance, you don't really need 1440p or even 2K. But yeah. And then the VRR, make sure that this is turned off, because this is a setting that is mostly present in TVs, and the TV will try to adjust the refresh rate to match your PlayStation or your game, and this can add additional latency, and it's pretty much like G-Sync for PC. And as always, these sync settings, they don't really work well, and they will cause input delay, so I highly suggest turning this setting off right here. Then make sure that your 120 Hz output is set to automatic instead of off, so you actually have the 120 FPS settings inside of your PS5 games. And then this setting right here, auto low latency mode. This is a setting that is actually really good. If you have a TV or any monitor or anything that supports this setting, I highly suggest setting it to automatic, as this is a setting that switches your monitor or your TV to low latency mode automatically. My monitor personally does not have this setting, so I can only use it on off, but my monitor is a really good and really low latency monitor. It's a BenQ Zowie XL2546, and it has a low latency setting built in that you can turn on and off in the monitor settings. So I turned that on in the monitor settings, and I don't need this auto low latency mode setting. Alright, and then this setting right here, if it's grayed out, that's okay. This is for TVs that support 4K resolution. So if you have this setting, make sure that it is turned off as well. As we already talked about this, I would suggest putting it to 1080p anyways. So this setting is really not important, and I suggest turning it off if you have the option. And then also, by the way, if you set the resolution to 1080p, it's probably gonna automatically gray out this setting, as this is a setting for 4K. And then in here, make sure you turn off HDR, as this is a setting as well that is for just like the looks of your game. It does not improve performance or anything, it just makes your colors different. And me personally, I turn off all of these settings that I don't really need. I'm really focused on my latency and my performance, so I turn off HDR, and I suggest you turning it off as well. So you can skip adjust HDR. And then deep color output, this also I suggest you turning this off. This is also a HDR type of setting that changes your colors, and you don't really need it. I just turn all of these off. But one thing that I actually suggest you doing is turning your RGB range to full, as this is a setting that doesn't affect your latency or anything, and it can make your game look more colorful, and it can make certain things stand out more. And I suggest you putting this to full. If you're not sure if your monitor supports it, then set it to automatic. But we're gonna go over the monitor settings in a bit, and I'm gonna show you how you can change your monitor settings so it actually displays full RGB range. But yeah, we're gonna go over this in a bit. Alright, so the next setting is your accessories. And inside of here, in the general settings, you can pretty much skip this. This is not that important. But you want to head over to controller. And then you want to make sure that all of these are set to standard. Vibration, trigger effect, all of this. As you can change this in most games anyways. I suggest you turning off vibration inside of your game, as I heard that changing stuff in here can actually change how your game feels and how your controller and your sense feels. So I would just leave this on standard and then change it inside of your game. And then right here, the communication method. This is really important. If you use a normal PS5 controller, so literally just a default DualSense PS5 controller, make sure that this is set to Bluetooth, as the normal PlayStation 5 controllers, they have a higher polling rate and lower delay if you use them via Bluetooth. But for me, I use a DualSense Edge, and this controller has the highest polling rate for PlayStation 5 as far as I know, but it only enables this polling rate if you use the USB cable. So if you use a DualSense Edge, make sure you use the USB cable, plug it into your controller, and then into the back of your PlayStation, as the back USB ports are the fastest on your PlayStation, and then change it to USB cable, as this will enable the controller to work with 1000 Hz polling rate. And then you can leave this stuff right here. You don't have to change anything in here. And then once again, my custom profile is called Apex, and all I changed in here is this right here. In the stick and sensitivity and dead zone settings, I put the right stick to precise -5. But I went over this in my sensitivity video. If you want to watch this, I'm gonna link it at the top of the screen. So if you want to watch it, you can click on that. But yeah. So this right here is only for DualSense Edge users, and I only changed my profile. So you can skip this if you don't have one. And then the media remote, you can skip that as well. And then the other accessories inside of here, there's not really anything that you need to change. But I heard that setting your key repeat delay and the rate to the shortest and fastest right here can change how your controller feels as well, even if you don't have a keyboard plugged into your console. I know this might sound weird, and we're actually changing keyboard settings in here, and it's probably not going to change anything, but just for placebo purposes, I guess, set it to short and fast. It probably doesn't change anything, but yeah. Everything else in here you can just leave like it is. Alright, and then the next thing you want to get into is the saved data and game app settings. You can skip these two settings right here and go to game presets, and then make sure that this right here, the performance mode or resolution mode, make sure that this is set to performance mode, as this will enable your games that support 120 FPS to actually show you the setting. So if you put this on performance mode, you can activate 120 FPS on Apex and Fortnite and other games like Rainbow. And you can leave all of these other settings right here. And then the automatic updates, if you want to. If you have slow internet, make sure that these settings are disabled. or only the first one, because this second one is only for rest mode, so it doesn't matter. But if you have slow internet and you want to make sure that your PlayStation doesn't download anything in the background, make sure that this is disabled. Me personally, I don't really have problems with this. My internet is pretty good. And if I notice that anything big is downloading in the background, I just pause it while I'm playing, so I leave this setting. And the other settings right here, you can leave. You don't really have to change anything in there. Alright, so the next setting, notifications, which is also a really important setting. So you want to go in here and you want to enable these two settings if they're disabled, as this will allow you to see invites and party invites when they're coming in. I disabled play a sound so it doesn't distract you while you're playing. But then right here, what I did is I hid the when friends go online. I put this on always hide, so I don't want to get a notification every time somebody goes online, as this will just like clutter my screen with notifications all the time. And then you can pretty much copy these settings from me. I pretty much hid most of these settings, trophies, and then this one is only hid while I'm playing videos or like watching Netflix or whatever. And yeah, I put friend requests always hide, so I don't want a friend request to come in while I'm playing. I can just go into my friends menu and then accept them. I disabled messages. I don't want to see a message coming in while I'm playing. I can just check that in the menu as well. And yeah, those are pretty much just things that I changed. Song changes. If you're listening to Spotify, you might not want a Spotify notification every time a new song starts playing. And yeah, those I just hid a lot of these settings, and you can do the same by just copying my settings if you want to. Alright, and then the last setting inside of the PlayStation settings is captures and broadcasts. I keep this on standard, and then I put the length of my recent video clip to 15 seconds. This doesn't really matter to me anymore, as I clip with my PC on OBS now. But if you wanna take quick screenshots with these shortcuts right here, as you can see, press once, press and hold, or press twice. You can just adjust how much it clips. So you don't have to go into your clipping menu every time something happens, and you can just press twice and it will clip whatever length you set in here. In here, the screenshot format, you want to keep this on JPG video format. I will put this to most efficient WebM, as this will take up the least storage. But if you want to make sure that you can edit these clips in any app or anything, and you don't want to change the file, you can use MP4, as this is the most normal and most used video format. But I kept mine on most efficient because I clip with OBS anyways, and I don't want my storage to be full of clips. And then inside of here, you can also exclude the party audio if you disable this. If you don't want to hear your friends in the background if you clip something. And you can include your microphone audio, or you can disable this. It's up to you. And this setting right here is it auto uploads the clips to the PlayStation app. You can disable this once again if you have slow internet. But since I don't really clip anything on my PlayStation, I have it on enabled. So if anything actually happens that's funny and I can't clip it on OBS, I have it on my PlayStation app immediately. And yeah. And then this right here should be enabled. And this, make sure that this is disabled. It will just auto record every time you play something, and it is really like not that good. Like it doesn't really, I kept it on disabled. And then this is really important, trophies. I put this on none and this one also on none. I do not want my trophies to be saved as screenshots and video clips all the time. And this is the setting for it. So if your media gallery is full of trophies, just disable these two settings. Same with challenges, I disabled this. And then I didn't change anything in here. And then the broadcasts, if you want to, you could put this to like a lower resolution or lower FPS, but if you actually want decent video clips, I would keep this like it is. And then the audio, once again, this is for your streaming. If you want to exclude your party audio, you can disable this. And then this right here is also for your streaming. If you stream from your PlayStation, you can display the chat, you can display the activity, and you can also change the position. And you can also put TTS, so if anybody says anything, it will read it out for you, so you don't have to read the chat. But this is not important at all. So that's it with all of the PlayStation settings. And now what I'm gonna get into is the monitor settings, and then also I'm gonna show you some pretty good tips for your PlayStation and how you should position it. And yeah, we're gonna get into this right now. Alright, so let's get right into the monitor settings. So this is gonna vary depending on what monitor you have, but pretty much any monitor has a menu, so you're gonna make sure to press any button and then open the menu of your monitor. Then inside of here, if you have a BenQ monitor, make sure that your diac is off, as this setting will increase your delay, and it's it can be good sometimes, but me personally, I put everything so I have the lowest delay, so I turned off my diac. And then the black equalizer, I put that to 10, so with any other monitor, it's probably just something in the middle, and it's probably going to be a similar name. This setting just makes black areas on your screen appear brighter, so this can be good if you want to turn it up a little. The color vibrance, I put this all the way up, so my game looks vibrant and just really nice, and I like it if it's vibrant. The low blue light is pretty much a setting that is good for your eyes, or apparently it is. I don't use this, and I don't really believe in this, like that blue light is damaging to your eyes that much, but this is up to you. I have it on 0, I don't want my screen to look yellow. And then this right here, the instant mode, this is what I was talking about. This is the setting that decreases my latency on my monitor. So this is the built-in low latency setting on my monitor. So if your monitor has any kind of gaming mode or low latency mode, make sure that this is enabled. Alright, and then the picture settings right here. I put my preset to FPS 2 and then just adjusted it, but it's probably not going to look the same on your monitor. Make sure your brightness is on the max. I put my contrast from 50 to 60. This makes my game look a little bit better as well, and I like it like this. And then my sharpness, I put this to 9. It's pretty much personal preference. Alright, and then the gamma right here, this changes your monitor's brightness. For me personally, gamma 5 makes my game look the best, and I can see the best with gamma 5. Color temperature is on normal. And then this one right here, this is really good. Set AMA to premium. If you have this setting, if you have any AMA setting, make sure that you set it to the max, or whatever the max is for you, as this reduces latency as well. Alright, and then the last thing in the display settings, to actually activate RGB range to full, what you want to do is you want to make sure that inside of your HDMI RGB PC range, that this is on RGB 0 to 255. this is full, and then 16 to 235, this is limited. So we're gonna make sure that this is set to full so it matches your PlayStation setting. And yeah, this is pretty much it for my monitor settings, and now we're gonna get into some PlayStation positioning and stuff like that. So as you can see, this is my PlayStation right here. This is my LAN cable right there. This is for my microphone, and this right here is for my controller. So make sure you plug your controller in the back of your PlayStation, since the back port of your PlayStation is faster than the front port. And then one more thing is, you want to make sure that you put the PlayStation horizontally, so it's laying down on this stand right here, as the PlayStation works best if it's laying down like this, since then the airflow on the back is better, so it's not blocked by the ground. And also, so this is actually very important, if you have your PlayStation standing up, your CPU's thermal paste inside of your PlayStation will flow down over time. It will melt down to the bottom of your CPU, and it will make your PlayStation overheat with time. So if you put the PlayStation laying down, the thermal paste that is applied to your CPU will always stay right where it should be, and it's not going to flow down to the bottom of your CPU. So if you want to make sure that your PlayStation doesn't overheat or get any heating problems in the future, make sure that you put your PlayStation laying down. Alright, so that is it with today's video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I really hope you got some helpful information out of this video. If you have any kind of questions, leave them in the comments down below and I'll try to answer them. And make sure you leave a like and a subscribe, as it will help the channel a lot. And I'll see you guys next time. Love you guys.